Hello, my name is HQ of HQ Reacts. Welcome to my channel. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button, share the stream, and click the notification button for new content. Thank you.
Hello, everybody on this Thursday evening. We still have many things going on in this country. We have a shutdown going on in this country. We have the White House being demolished beyond tradition. We just got too many things going on, and I think it's coming to a head. But let's listen.
Shutdown continues. The Republican Party's not going to pay $1.5 trillion to illegal immigrants coming into our country, coming in for a lot of reasons, coming in from prisons, from jails, from all over the place, from Venezuela, many countries. We're not going to do that. So the shutdown continues. It's a Democrat shutdown. It's a Schumer shutdown because his career has failed and it's over. I met with President Zelensky, as you know, today, and we had a very good meeting, very cordial meeting. In my opinion, they should stop the war immediately. You go by the battle line wherever it is, otherwise it's too complicated. You'll never be able to figure it out. You stop at the battle line, and both sides should go home.
The demolition, which began this week without prior public notice, has drawn sharp criticism from preservationists and historians. In a statement, the National Trust for Historic Preservation called for the work to stop, saying it's concerned that the massing and height of the proposed new construction will overwhelm the White House itself and may also permanently disrupt the carefully balanced classical design of the White House. President Trump had previously insisted the project would not affect the East Wing, which for decades housed the First Lady's offices. Joining us now to discuss the renovation is Priya Jan, chair of the Heritage Preservation Committee at the Society of Architectural Historians and a professor at Texas A&M University. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, one would expect the White House, given its historic importance, its national symbolism, to have extraordinary preservation restrictions. Why doesn't it?
So this goes back to an exemption in the Section 106 process of the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966, where the White House, the U.S. Supreme Court, and the U.S. Capitol building were marked as exempt. Other federal buildings or federally assisted projects where historic buildings are impacted go through this very comprehensive review process. Now, having said that, despite the exemption, previous studies done at the White House with the involvement of the National Park Service note that even though this formal process is not required, the NPS staff strive to adhere to this process to the best extent as possible. And in prior projects that have been much smaller in scale, it appears that these internal consultations and advice from the National Park Service and other agencies has been sought before the project was initiated and executed.
But that wasn't the case here.
It is not clear. It has not been shared to my knowledge in the public domain what the nature of these consultations.
So basically what she's saying is the White House did not, or the Trump administration did not seek approval to do all the things that they were going to do. Why didn't they seek approval? Because they knew they were going to tear down the East Wing. They knew they were going to do more damage than what they said they were going to do. So they didn't ask for permission. They just started doing the construction.
Have been. I should note that the National Park Service, in the Secretary of the Interior's guidelines for treatment to historic buildings, and specifically in relation to new additions, states that new additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction will not destroy historic materials, features, and spatial relationships that characterize the property. Moreover, the new work will be compatible with the historic materials, size, scale, proportion, and massing to protect the integrity of the property and its environment. This language that I just read from the National Park Service document is meant to be an advisory, it's a guidance. However, throughout the nation, the federal projects, other historic buildings use this guidance in the way they treat historic buildings. So it's surprising that the most important building in the nation, it's not clear whether these guidelines have been followed and what those deliberations have been like.
Professor Jan, the White House today defended the demolition and redevelopment work. Here's what the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said.
There have been many presidents in the past who have made their mark on this beautiful White House complex. I think sitting here today, we're all grateful for those efforts and the modifications that happened at that time. And again, in due time, the East Wing is going to be more beautiful and modern than ever before.
So how does this square with what past presidents have done? Certainly, no president has sought to demolish an entire wing of the White House.
Yes, and this is something that we noted, that despite the fact that there have been successive additions and changes to the White House, this would be the first major change to the building in the last 80 years. And I should also point out that the National Park Service lays out that any changes to a property that have happened, for example, the East Wing, which was added in 1942, they acquire historic significance in their own right and should be retained and preserved. So from our perspective, it is unclear whether that sort of assessment of the historic significance of the East Wing, the East Colonnade, was done. So the scale of this project, at least in the last 80 years, to the exterior appearance of the White House is unprecedented.
What are the potential risks, tangible and intangible, of demolishing and rebuilding such a prominent piece?
And see, there's no respect for the history, for the tradition of that building. They're just, did you all see the gold that was in the Oval Office or wherever that is? I forgot, the reception room or whatever. Did you all see the gold that's in there? That is such a tacky look for the president. I don't understand who told the president that gold around that office would make it look presidential. It looks terrible.
Of the White House.
Right. So any new structure that comes in its place is basically not the old East Wing. It's a new structure. And if I'm looking at kind of more recent news stories, it seems like it is not just the East Wing, but also the East Colonnade that has now been demolished. So
that don't even make sense, Jimmy F. They don't even, Jimmy YF. That don't even make sense.
Yes, so I think what is lost is now lost. Any new construction that happens would essentially be a new building.
So conversely, what are the potential benefits or opportunities, if any, that might come from this redevelopment?
So for anybody who's worked on historic campus or with historic buildings knows that buildings cannot be frozen in time, especially if they're being constantly used. I think from our society's perspective, we also know that there is not just one way of doing a project. There are multiple design options. There are various ways in which programmatic requirements are right-sized, what should be the size of this ballroom. As you know, in this process, the ballroom was initially proposed to be designed for 650 people. And then later on, that project scale was expanded to now be up to 1,000 people. So we encouraged in our statement for this conversation around the size of the project to be had with a broad consensus of people and to take their advice into consideration.
Priya Jan, Chair of the Heritage Preservation Committee at the Society of Architectural Historians. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, so this is where we're at with the White House being changed, forever changed, way beyond what it normally would have been, because I don't think they presented those plans to them to the extent that they are doing what they're doing. So we will see. Let's hope the ballroom doesn't have gold everywhere. which is just flat out tacky. I don't know why he seems to think gold is the be all, but that's terrible. It's tacky with gold everywhere. I don't get it. Why someone didn't say, hey, Mr. President, maybe we shouldn't put gold in that area. Maybe we shouldn't do that instead of this. But nobody told him anything. So seeing as how nobody told him anything, and they thought it was okay for him to put it there, I don't know what's going on. It's just like everybody is abdicating their duty. Everybody is abdicating their duty with this president. I just don't understand it.
Far left faction of Senate Democrats shut down the government because we wouldn't give them hundreds of billions of dollars for health care benefits for illegal aliens.
They want to reinstate free health care paid for by taxpayers to illegal aliens.
They want $1.5 trillion for health care for illegal aliens.
Now, is there any truth to this? What Trump and the GOP are referring to are the 1.4 million people living in America that are what's called lawfully present. Now, this means they're not permanent U.S. citizens, but they also aren't undocumented or here illegally. Lawfully present people fall in a few categories: DACA recipients, refugees, asylum seekers, people with temporary protected status, claimees under the Violence Against Women Act. All of these individuals were granted some form of temporary stay, and many are working to legally obtain permanent status in the United States. Now, one thing Democrats are trying to do is restore healthcare funding for those people after Republicans stripped that funding earlier this year. And when I've dug in deeper with White House officials, they've revealed one of the central motivators behind the claim. They say the Biden administration abused the immigration parole program to grant temporary entry to the U.S. for people who shouldn't have ever received it in the first place. And that's a more nuanced claim because it argues whether lawfully present people should be granted that status in the first place. So are Democrats trying to give free health care to undocumented or illegal immigrants? When it comes to the 1.4 million lawfully present people in the U.S., no. As catchy of a talking point as that may be for Republicans amidst the shutdown, it doesn't tell the full story.
The real reason why the government shut down. No spin. As of October 1st, the Democrats have refused to sign onto the budget that the Republicans have planned to fund the government. Why? There are two main reasons, and I'm about to piss off both sides, so at least you'll know I'm fair. First is because Chuck Schumer got so much flack from the Democrats the last time that he signed onto the Republicans' budget without giving them any pushback that he's afraid to sign onto one now. But here's the biggest piece. Starting on October 15th, open enrollment begins for federal healthcare programs. A few months ago, the One Big Beautiful Bill took away all the tax credits and subsidies that were given to people who were on federal healthcare during COVID. So as of now, 20 million Americans can expect their healthcare premiums to double. Speaker Mike Johnson is correct that these tax credits or subsidies don't expire until the end of the year. But open enrollment closes way before then, and you have to know whether you can afford the plan that you're choosing. The Democrats have asked the Republicans to come to the table to try to work on this many times, but they haven't. Now we're down to the wire, and so the Dems felt like they...
Meaning when we go into open enrollment, all of us, when we go into open enrollment, I'm assuming it's all of us. I'm assuming that. If you have that ACA, once you go into enrollment and enrollment starts November 1st, I can pick a plan thinking that plan is going to cost me $30 a month. But when the government shutdown ends, and if the Democrats give in and let the Republicans have their way, then that $30 that I'm paying every month might double to $100 a month. So you want to pick a plan and you want to know what you're going to pay before you pick the plan. And that's just not going to happen if the Democrats don't give in. If it continues and continues and continues, and the Republicans never decide they're going to give the Medicaid back or the Medicare or ACA back, nobody's going to know what they're going to pay until the government is up and running again. And you might be paying triple because the Republicans don't want to give you health care. The Republicans just don't want to give Americans health care. They want to cut people off of Medicare and Medicaid. That's elderly, disabled, veterans, kids. They want to cut them all off, Medicaid and Medicare. That's the problem. You don't know what you're going to pay. Enrollment starts in 1 week. In 1 week, enrollment in programs in Medicaid start, Medicare, Medicaid, whatever, ACA, all of that starts next week. And you don't know what you're going to be paying. Wow.
They had no choice but to use the shutdown as leverage to try to get the Republicans to talk with them so that 20 million Americans won't see their premiums double. The polling universally indicates that 77% of Americans do not want these healthcare subsidies taken.
Y'all need to start reading and say, instead of saying I'm lying, please disprove what I'm saying. Put something in the chat that tells me that I'm lying. But you can't do that. Only thing you can say is a load of caca. You can't prove that I'm lying.
Insurance companies take advantage of the American people, and since 2020, prices have skyrocketed. So what's the issue here? Why won't the Republicans come to the table? Because they wanted to cut the healthcare spending in order to pay for the tax cuts that were in the one big beautiful bill. If those healthcare subsidies come back, we can't afford the tax cuts. As a messaging professional in politics, here's what I think happened when President Trump's team heard that the Democrats were trying to force the Republicans to talk about extending the healthcare credits. Trump's team promptly approached him and said, hey, the Democrats want to talk to us about their best issue, which is healthcare, and we don't want to negotiate with them on this. My guess is Trump said, then let's make it about our best issue. Immigration. Let's make it about illegal immigration. So social media posts from the president, vice president, trickling all the way down through Congress, all said the Democrats refuse to fund the government because they want to give healthcare to illegal immigrants. Is that true? Let's take a look at the facts. First of all, federal healthcare dollars cannot be appropriated to illegal immigrants. So there's nothing that the Democrats could ask for, right? Even if they did something nefariously or secretly, there's nothing that they could ask for that would actually go to illegal immigrants in order for negotiations to continue. Secondly, if you look at the budget, actually the only federal healthcare dollars that even make their way to illegal immigrants is when illegal immigrants go to the emergency room. Now let me explain this. If a person who's an illegal immigrant goes to the emergency room and they have an actual emergency, right, like a broken bone or they're having an asthma attack or they're bleeding or something, then federal healthcare dollars will reimburse the hospital for their care. If it's not an emergency, the federal government will not reimburse the hospital and that person will get a bill. The amount of money that the federal government pays hospitals to take care of illegal immigrants who are in need of emergency healthcare is less than 1%. It's something like 0.05% of the federal healthcare budget goes to illegal immigrants who need emergency healthcare. That's not why the government is shutting down. It's not.
That's the whole point. You guys don't read for jack shit. You guys don't read for jack shit. You never stand for anything. You never read. You never research. She just explained to you that illegal immigrants don't get health care. There is a law that says they don't get health care, a federal law. It's called PRWORA 104 to 193, 1996. I'll put it in the chat for you guys to go look at it. Illegal immigrants can't get Medicaid. That's the issue that the Republicans want to put on the table. And wait a minute, hold on. Let me be clear on this. Let's be clear. The Republicans can open the government if they want to. They can do a cloture vote, or they can change the they can change the bill in the House. They can change the bill to a different type of bill, and they can pass the bill both in the House and the Senate if they want to, but they don't want to. Without the Democrats, the Republicans can open the government. They just don't want to. Y'all slow, I swear.
All right, my TikTok friends, I am here to get your opinion on the
No, it's not.
Government shutdown. Because of partisan disagreements, it left over 800,000 federal employees without work. And another 700,000 without pay. As of August 26, 2025, over 200,000 people have been fired from their position this year. As of August 26, 2025, over 200,000 federal workers have left their job, and it says CNN has tracked at least 128,700 workers laid off or targeted for layoffs. I don't know why the Democrats can't do things the partisan way and just have to do things either their way or the highway. Look at how many people this affects. As of right now, it's being tallied that there are over 4 million federal employees that are going without pay. Over 2 million troops are going to be forced to work without pay, but the lawmakers on Capitol Hill are still going to get their pay. The FDA can ensure that eggs, milk, and those sorts of food are going to be safe to eat during this time. I'm just wanting you all to weigh in on this. I'm curious what your thoughts are, what your arguments are, what side you're on, and why. Leave me a comment, let me know. It's frustrating to say the least.
Democrats have blocked this bill 11 times. Is it time to start thinking about a plan B for you guys?
Plan B is open up the government.
What about a compromise?
Y'all, please read. Please learn how to read instead of just putting anything in the chat. Please learn how to read. Okay? It's called PRWORA, Public Law 104 to 193. I said it. It affects undocumented illegal immigrants in the U.S. Please start reading instead of just spouting stuff that you want to hear. Please.
It's a middle ground.
We had a bill passed in the House, sitting at the desk in the Senate, can be picked up and passed. The middle ground, I think, is what we talk about after we open up the government. I mean, this is not a sustainable position. They're blocking the defense appropriations bill now. They're not going to pay the troops.
You don't see jack shit because if you don't work in the hospital, you lying. So shut up.
And they're now starting to own it. I mean, they're acknowledging that this is their shutdown. And so I think they're going to have a hard time defending that to the American people. Nothing more than their attempt to try and pick a fight with the president and hold the federal government and federal work.
They continue to say it's about immigration. We don't want to give the immigrants medical insurance. If you start doing critical thinking, then you would know that the Democrats are not lying. The Democrats said your health care is going to go up come November 1st, and you won't know what you're going to pay until after the government's back up and running, which is the truth. Because you know how I know it's the truth? Because the Republicans already said it. The Republicans said they want to hold the government hostage so that they can give insurance or health insurance to the illegals. So the Democrats are holding out because they want health insurance, but not for the illegals, but for the rest of us, out there. That's the whole point. I wish y'all would be reading. I wish you just wouldn't come in here and do reflexive shit. Okay, reflexive. The minute the Democrats started talking about something that needs to be, y'all reflexive. You don't do critical thinking. Yeah, you sound like you think. Jerry, so do you.
Hostage to do it. It makes no sense. I don't get it.
So there's no talks going to happen with Schumer before the shutdown ends?
I mean, they're going to have to come forward with a proposal or something. We aren't seeing it.
Virginia has declared a state of emergency so that they can fund EBT payments in case the shutdown continues November 1st.
Right.
I work in social services, so I have been following this really, really closely. And I just saw a statement from the governor on Facebook, actually, that state of emergency has been declared. So people in Virginia, at least, because it's a state-by-state thing, will be receiving their EBT benefits November 1st, regardless of the state of the government shutdown.
Shutdown's still going. It's the 12th time these votes have failed. And gang, there is not an end in sight. If you say you know when the shutdown's going to end, go buy a Powerball ticket, because honestly, this has been one of the things in Washington. This thing is stretching on. It's coming as California's governor now says he will deploy the National Guard to handle a shortage in food bank money. With the shutdown about to hit low-income families hard, not just in California, but across the country. That's because you've got a bunch of states warning that SNAP benefits, a.k.a. food stamp benefits, could run out just 10 days from now. Starting then, and it's happening at what could be kind of the worst time for food banks. This is usually their busiest.
Yes, it's the busiest time of the year because it's Thanksgiving. Hey, Ty Pro, it's Thanksgiving. Okay, Bumpy, Jerry, it's Thanksgiving time. 20% of the participants are elderly who get food stamp. 10% are non-elderly individuals with a disability. So all of these people are not going to get their food stamps. Okay, so the relevant data is 37% white people get food stamp, 26% African American, 16% Hispanic, and 3% Asian. Blah blah blah. So basically, all of those people are gonna get broke off. really, really bad. They're going to get broke off. Okay. And so you're going to see the food banks open up, people stealing food, people using their rent money in order to buy food. That's the whole thing. Why should someone have to pay for the rent or pay for food in lieu of rent or pay rent in lieu of food? If you don't have no place to stay, there ain't nowhere for you to eat. See, this is going to be bad. This is going to be bad.
This time of year, think about it. It's October. You got Thanksgiving coming up. This is a time when you see a lot of need. You've got some furloughed federal workers who aren't getting paychecks right now, finding themselves turning to the food banks, too. Here in Washington, our D.C. station caught up with one federal employee who didn't want to be identified. She said she was in line at a food bank, right, despite more than 2 decades of serving in the military.
I have to admit, this is the first time I've ever taken advantage of something like this. I've not been in this predicament ever. I served 21 years in the military. I've been a federal government employee for the past 2 years.
The left Democrats are holding the entire federal government hostage to...
No. Y'all can't, but the Republicans can't, y'all can't blame this on the Democrats, because y'all can open the government. If y'all want to open the government, y'all can open it up right now. The Republicans are refusing to open it up because they don't want to, they want your insurance to go up. They want it to go up. That's what a lot of people don't get. They want you to pay for the insurance that you're getting because they don't want to continue to pay for it. They have to cut something out of the budget in order to pay for the tax cuts. That's a part of the tax cuts. So they have to. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. That's wild. Y'all, it's wild. Some of y'all come in here and say just anything and ain't did no research. None.
But if Republicans control the White House, the Senate, and the House, then why do they need Democrats to reopen the government? The answer is the Senate filibuster. The rule has evolved over many generations, but since 1975, it has required 60 votes to guarantee passage of a bill. And there are only 53 Republicans in the Senate, meaning that in order to pass a government funding bill, Republicans need at least 7 Democrats to vote with them. Not an easy task in this divided Congress. Some Republicans have suggested they use the so-called nuclear option to get rid of the filibuster rule, to cut Democrats out of the process and reopen the government.
We have almost all Republicans on board. Maybe it's time to think about the filibuster.
And there you go, which is what I said to you dingbats. The Republicans can open the government without the freaking Democrats. They don't want to. The dude just said it. You can do the nuclear. They don't want to. Man, some of y'all are slow.
You say, look, the Democrats would have done it. Let's just vote with Republicans. We got 52 Republicans. Let's go.
But GOP leaders are reluctant to go there because it would set a far-reaching precedent that many worry will come back to haunt them when Democrats return to power.
Well, then explain to me why they just said what they said, Darcy Morgan, since you're such a genius. Why is that? Why did they just say that they could do the nuclear option? If that's not the case. I didn't say a nuclear option. They said it. Explain to me why they said they could open up the government doing a nuclear option. Explain to me why. Because you can't. Can I have a civil debate? I'm having a civil debate. You're not having a civil debate.
Filibuster, as you know, supermajority requirement is something that makes the Senate the Senate. If we had done that, there's a whole lot of bad things that could have been done by.
Bumpy, I know you're not talking when you voted for a president who gave money to the rich people and slighted you and didn't give you any money. I know you're not talking about giving people free shit when they gave rich people money and didn't give you anything.
The other side.
So, with the filibuster rule still in place, it will take about...
So what, Darcy? They still can use the nuclear weapon. They can use the nuclear weapon. Jesus. They don't want to.
Partisan deal to reopen the government. And right now, that seems like a tall order for this Congress.
I hope the government stays shut down after November 1st. And I hope every single store gets looted down to the fucking bone. Gets looted down to the fucking bone. If the Democrats are holding tough, which they
It's bumpy. Then stop caping for rich people. Then stop caping for rich people.
are right now. This is the shit that you have to do. You have got to be like, put all your fucking cards in, put all your fucking chips in, and be like, we are not scared. We will take whatever the fuck comes along with it. We don't care if we burn this bitch to the ground. And I hope that's what happens on fucking November 1st. I hope every single person who gets food stamps goes into every store and robs the shit out of every single one. I might even rob shit and I don't even need to rob shit. But guess what? I might go in that bitch and fucking steal some shit.
See, here's my thing. This is the problem, right? I have this problem. None of the money that is going towards Argentina, Ukraine. No, Ukraine is stopped. They stopped Ukraine's money. They did not stop the money going to Argentina. They didn't stop the money going to Israel. They didn't stop the money going to Egypt. They didn't stop any of that money. And yet and still, they're about to stop. They cut medical benefits for our most vulnerable people. They cut food stamps for our most vulnerable people, but they did not cut the aid going from that $40 billion over there to Argentina. They did not cut that money going over to Israel. No, it's not a lie. You just don't do research. I can't help it. You don't do research. They didn't stop any of that. I looked it up. I was like, wait a minute. Okay. So they're going to get rid of food stamps and Medicaid come November 1st. Your Medicaid is going up. Your medical is going up and you're going to lose food stamps. And then I said, wait a minute. Okay. So the big, beautiful bill cut the Medicaid and the food stamps, and that kicks in November 1st, right? Okay, cool. Are they going to stop the aid because the government is shut down and the Republicans can start the government when they want to? They just don't want to, okay? Let's be clear. They just don't want to. They can use the nuclear option if they want to, but they just don't want to. So therefore, this is a Republican shutdown. So I looked it up and I said, okay, are they going to stop payments to Israel, Egypt, Ukraine, and Argentina? Are they going to stop those payments to those 4 countries? Because our people are not getting anything. Is he going to stop those payments? No, those payments don't stop. Israel's don't stop. Egypt's don't stop. Argentinians, not Egypt, Argentina, I can't say that word. Argentina's won't stop. Ukraine's is the only one that will stop. So that basically means everybody, what is this America First bullshit? What's this America First bullshit? I don't see it. Okay. I don't see where Americans are coming first. Okay. I don't see that. What I see is the most vulnerable people always get the shaft first. Middle class always gets the shaft first. Poor people get the shaft first, and everybody else come first. Everybody else come before all of us, after us. Nobody gets cut. The vulnerable always gets cut. The poor always gets cut. Okay. Egypt, Israel, and Argentina are going to get their money. They're going to get their money. Okay. So when the government freezes the budget, it's always going to be the poor people first. Always. Not the billionaires, not the politicians, not the corporations. They all going to get their little tax breaks. It's the single moms, the elderly, the handicapped, people living on fixed income. Oh, wait a minute. Let me look. I did look that up. Social Security checks will continue to be paid out during the government shutdown because they are considered mandatory spending and are not affected by lapses in appropriations. Recipients of retirement, disability, survivor benefits, as well as those receiving SSI will get their checks during direct deposit or whatever on their usual schedule. However, some services at local offices will be reduced, and new applicants or those with ongoing appeals may experience delays. So they will get their money. Social Security people, they will get their money. But here's the thing. When they want to freeze something, it's always the poor people. It's always the middle class. Why is it that you're sending money to Israel? You're sending money to Egypt. You're sending money to Argentina so that the people here don't get the things that they need. How is this America first? Okay, so that means our help gets cut, delayed, or shut down, while those who cause the bullshit keep cashing checks, who keep coming over asking for money, asking for help. Basically, what it is these foreign countries keep asking for help, and Donald Trump is giving them help before he helps us. Donald Trump is the only president in which shutdowns have occurred in the past 40 years. Donald Trump is the only president who has caused government shutdowns in the last 40 years. He is the only president. Okay. This is unfair because the system always finds a way to protect the rich people, the people at the top, while the regular people have to tighten their belts. We got to starve. We got to starve on November 1st. Our medical benefits have to go up because somebody else got to get money. This is infuriating to me because they always talk, the Republicans always fuck up governing our country. Every goddamn time they always fucking up governing our country because they're always talking about fiscal responsibility. Like we are the problem. Like Medicaid and disabled people and people who get food stamps is the problem. It's like the cost of helping poor people eat food is bankrupting the country. How is it that feeding your people in your country is bankrupting the system? You can find foreign aid to give to Argentina. You can find foreign money to give or loan to Argentina, or aid to military spending, or money to Israel, or money to Egypt, or Ukraine. You can find all this money in the world. But when it comes to food stamps, Medicare, housing, childcare, suddenly we got to sit back and think whether we're going to feed and house our people. It's fucking insulting. We work, we pay our taxes, we help fund all of these things. And every time that budget comes around, y'all can never do the right thing for the American people. Y'all can never do the right thing for the American people. Okay? It's always a matter of we got to fund Israel. We got to fund somebody else. And I get it. But my understanding is that's helping to fund their stuff before our stuff. I don't care about their stuff. I care about our stuff. Okay? The most vulnerable population, besides the children, are the elderly and the disabled. And white people make up the largest share of participants in sheer numbers. Then it's black, then it's Hispanic. And really high rates of food stamp are the red states, the Republican states. Those are the states that have the highest rate of food stamps. New Mexico is, I think New Mexico is a blue state, but it's like 21%. I think that might be high, 21%, but to the lowest, 5%. But I know New Mexico, and then it's like, I'm not sure, Wisconsin or something like that, has the highest rate of food stamps. Okay. And then to top all of this off, the president closes the children disability. What is that called? That office where disabled children, they deal with disabled people, or is it disabled children or something, whatever. And then he has the nerve to say, I'm going to close one of the most vulnerable parts of our government that help our disabled people, disabled children, veterans, special needs people. That's the first thing he closed down when he got on TV and he started saying, I'm going to close the Democratic program. I'm going to close the Democratic programs. And the first thing he did was close the disabled, or the ones that take care of special needs, the kids that take care of special needs. Okay. And that's sad. That's sad. Okay. That's the sad part. Okay. And I was like, wait a minute. And then on top of that, they closed Head Start. Are you all hitting the like button, the share button, please and thank you? We have these discussions every night. No, 46 MD. You can't just say I'm a lie. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat if you think I'm a liar. If I said anything that's a lie, put it in the chat. Here's the phone number. If you feel like calling and saying I'm a liar to my face, I'd appreciate it. But you can't say I'm a lie because I'm not lying. Okay? I'm just giving you the information that we have, that we're having. Please hit the like and the share and the comment button section. Do all of those good things, please and thank you. We have this kind of content every night just to come out with facts. We don't deal with conspiracies or lies or anything like that. We are at our most vulnerable in this country, and we need the truth. We don't need garbage. We don't need people in the chat talking about HQ, you're lying. No, don't say I'm lying. Put in the chat what I'm lying about. Please hit the like and the share and subscribe button, please and thank you. I appreciate it. Please and thank you. We do this every night. Okay. The phone is on. Oh, shit. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. I have the wrong little. Okay. Wait a minute. Hold on. Right here. You see the phone number right there? Please. Please. I'm encouraging people to call in. Let me know what you're thinking. What's going on? What do you think is happening here? Okay. Because that food is at 1 week from today. 1 week from today, that food needs to be back online for these people, for the elderly, for the handicapped, for the children. It has to be back online for these people. And I see the church still giving money to Israel and Egypt and Argentina. You're still giving them money. So I'm asking, why are we saying this president is America first if this is what you're doing? Hit the like button, subscribe button, please and thank you. Hit the like button. Come back tomorrow for content. We have content like this every evening. Hit the phone line if you want to say something about this whole thing. It would be great, amazing. So this is where we at. Okay. So he closed the most vulnerable things that we need for the health of our children: the Head Start program and the special needs department. I can't remember what the name of that is. A special needs department, right? And something called the legal aid for migrant children who come to this country without their parents. Something happens to their parents and they just end up coming here. That's another department that he immediately closed. Why would you do that? Why would you close the special needs department, the legal aid department for unaccompanied migrant children? Why would you close the most vulnerable agencies that help children in this country? Because you wanted to hurt. You wanted to hurt your population. Because this president wanted to hurt the population, because he doesn't care about the population. He doesn't care about the poor or the sick or the handicapped. You can't tell me that you do. You can't tell me that you do. If the first thing that crosses your mind to cut is the most vulnerable of benefits for the most vulnerable, how do you explain that? How do you explain that? Okay. And nobody has put in the chat how I'm wrong. Oh no, Jason Garcia. We look, it's looking real good for us. It's looking real good for the Democrats.
This is day 22 of the government shutdown. And Speaker Mike Johnson, during his press conference today on Wednesday, October the 22nd, named a few things that the Republicans have done since Trump took office. Baby, he said they strengthened Medicaid. They have lowered taxes for the American citizens, and that they have improved healthcare access and have lowered healthcare premiums. Baby, us Americans that live these everyday lives, we know the truth. We know that all of those things are not true. Now, I don't fully know about him strengthening Medicaid. I don't know nothing about that. But I have not seen my taxes lower. And I got some medical bills right now that I can gladly show him, baby, these premiums are not low. And people still support this administration and say that they are doing all these great things. Y'all, these people just get up there and lie every day. Every single day. Nobody jumps in to tell them the facts. And that's another thing I don't get. Why is it that no one in this administration can step up and say the real freaking facts? But only the fools believe what they say. And it's a lot of them out there, which is a shame because none of those things have happened since Trump has been back in office. They damn sure can't fool me because I know the facts.
I'm going to tell you like this right here. If you done got your stamps for this month or you haven't got them yet, if you done got your stamps or when you get your stamps for this month, don't go running trying to sell your damn stamps. Don't go running buying all that goddamn junk food, them knickknacks and all that bullshit. Don't be trying to do nothing else other than put some grocery in that refrigerator and some grocery in that deep freezer because I'm going to tell y'all what's happening. So that whole rumor talk about no stamps being issued in November is a fact. Nobody in America that's in the EBT or part of the EBT program will receive food stamps in the month of November. Nowhere in the United States, if they have a government SNAP EBT program, wherever you are, they will not be issuing no benefits. Now, this is the crazy thing. I don't know if y'all really believe a lot of the stuff or if y'all reading up on it, but bro, brace yourself because it's not just November. Listen to me, it's not just November. It's not just November. They trying to phase out and get rid of food stamps just like they trying to do the Section 8, the government assistant, anything that's government assisted, any programs, they trying to get rid of all of that. You see what I mean? And they telling everybody it's to save money and it's the this and it's that. That's not what it's for. That's not what it's for. Don't be no fool. A lot of y'all, like I said, a lot of y'all wake up and run the social media and bullshit. Y'all receive food stamps. Y'all get some type of government assistance. Y'all better start waking up and looking what's going on around y'all. Because like I said, you gonna wake up one day in the world, in the life that you know and used to and feel like you entitled to, that shit gonna change. And they doing it right in front of your eyes. Like I said, you gonna wake up one morning and you're not gonna be able to walk in your grocery store and swipe that damn EBT card and fill up your pantry. You see what I mean? So for y'all, for the ones who don't know what's going on, for the ones that's not resourceful, for the ones that's not self-efficient, y'all better get on y'all shit. You would not get food stamps come November. And if y'all haven't been paying attention, don't sit here and just think, oh, come December, they're going to give me my November stamps and my December. No, they are not, because the way they talking, the way this Trump administration talking, you might not get them come December. And I'm being honest. So if you don't know what's going on, like I say, man, tap in, tune in with me, man. I keep y'all updated just like I did. And I'm like with the child support laws and everything else. If you don't know, hit me up. I'll let you know what's going on.
All right, so what you're about to see today in the media is, again, Senate Democrats come together to ban against reopening the government, which is not at all true. What happened today was that the Senate would vote again on a resolution to pay federal workers. Democrats and Republicans both pushed forward a resolution to vote. Democrats wanted to pay everybody across the board, including furloughed workers. Also to include no other federal workers get furloughed. Republicans only wanted to pay those who are currently at work, and that would not include furloughed workers. Democrats did not want to do that because a few weeks ago, Trump hinted at only being able to back pay certain folks, and they didn't want to give him any leeway into doing that, even though they are federally protected to get back pay during a shutdown. So that's where we are right now. Both resolutions failed. Nothing has advanced so far in the Senate. I believe the final vote only had 54 senators, which you need 60, and so here we are.
If you are naive enough to think that the pause to SNAP benefits on November 1st isn't going to affect you because you don't receive food stamps, I want you to hear this. About 1 in 8 Americans receive SNAP benefits. In fact, in Oklahoma, where I live, that's 1 in 6 people. So about 600,000 people in my state alone, Oklahoma, receive SNAP benefits. About 1 in 4 children in the U.S. receive SNAP benefits. But you're not one of those people, so you don't care, but hang with me. When those benefits go away, just about $9 billion in grocery spending vanishes. So you've got to be thinking about not just the grocery stores being able to stay open and pay their employees, but you have to think about the entire supply chain, trucks on the road, people who provide food to these grocery stores. $9 billion. Every dollar spent in SNAP benefits adds about $1.50 to $1.80 to the economy. So cutting those benefits isn't saving that dollar, it's taking away that $1.50 to your local economy. But you don't receive SNAP benefits, you don't work for a grocery store, you don't drive a truck, you don't give a shit. But when all of those things happen, the only way to combat that is to drastically increase the price of groceries. Grocery prices are already up over 3% in 2025 alone, which is almost an entire percentage higher than the average increase in grocery prices over the last 20 years. I thought they were supposed to go down day one, though. So even if SNAP benefits only pause for 1 month, which by the way would be detrimental to all the people I mentioned before that you don't give a shit about, it will cost the economy roughly $13 to $14 billion.
That's where we at. I seen a couple people in the chat saying, oh, we don't care. You need to stay off the food stamp. You need to stop begging for the food stamps. The bulk of the people who get the food stamps are the elderly, the handicapped, the disabled, and the veterans. Y'all don't be thinking when y'all be talking. And the children. Okay? The mothers who got children are still going to get the food stamps. The whole point is not to cut the most vulnerable off of the food stamps while simultaneously giving money to foreign aid. So you can't say this president gives a damn about America first and he's out golfing. He don't give a damn whether y'all get food stamp. He don't give a damn whether you get your money, your checks, no nothing. He'd be at the negotiating table trying to negotiate some stuff. He's giving away foreign aid. Okay? He's giving away the foreign aid. No, they don't, Zagmar Flowers. He's giving away foreign aid to foreigners, but he can't afford. See, that's what I don't get. It's disrespectful. How can you give away foreign aid money, but you can't afford to pay for people's food stamps and people's medical? But you're willing to give money to foreigners, but you're not willing to take care of the children that are here. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. So the only conclusion I can come to is you don't give a damn about the American people. That's the only thing I can come up with. There ain't no way in hell you give a damn about the American people and you giving away, you burning up the most vulnerable of us. Okay? you're burning the most vulnerable of us. It's infuriating because you say America first, but that's not how it is. And what hurts the most is the silence about helping the vulnerable people. It's like your pain don't matter. How your pain goes, it don't matter. They don't care. These people make decisions and don't care about who they make the decisions for. They make the decision for somebody else overseas. People in Israel, children in Israel are worth more than the children here in the United States. People in Argentina are worth more than the people in the United States. People in Egypt are worth more than the people in the United States. You can't afford to give them people in the United States money, but you can afford to give away $40 billion to Argentina? Okay. The whole point is y'all don't know y'all don't know what it means to make a decision between paying your rent and feeding your family. You never stood at a food bank line and you were a veteran and you had to stand at a food bank line and you served our country. And people who serve our country are getting food stamps and you're cutting them off those food stamps. You never stood in a food bank line and knew your EBT on the first was going to be a 0. So when you freeze that budget, you're not just freezing them, you're freezing people, you're freezing the most vulnerable of our population. And I have to tell you, I have to say to you Republicans, please put in the chat what the big beautiful bill did for you. What did the big beautiful bill do for you? I know the rich people got their money. Did the poor people? And I know they cut the poor people off food stamp. I know they cut the poor people off Medicaid. The elderly people off Medicaid. I know they did that. But what did they do for y'all? What did they do for you? And yet and still, they're sending money over there to Israel. They're sending money over there to Argentina. Sending money over there to Egypt. Sending all that money and saying, forget the American people. So that ain't America first to me. And on top of that, the president got the nerve to be tearing down the White House at $300 million. 300 at the cost we got to pay for it. We got to pay $300 million for him to get a gold-plated goddamn dance hall. And yet none of y'all Republicans seem to be outraged or angry. And it pisses me off that we get left in the fucking cold again. While the rich get on TV and argue about fucking policy. And argue about how much money they're going to send to Argentina. How much money they're going to send to fucking Israel. How much I'm going to spend on this Rose Garden bullshit. Instead of taking care of your most vulnerable. That's why I say this president don't give a damn about y'all. Y'all goofy. Y'all don't see it. But he don't give a damn about y'all. Ain't no way.
In profit. And you can expect your grocery prices in just that 1 month to go up at least 1%. And states will stand to lose about $300 to $500 million in sales tax revenue. So even if you do not receive SNAP benefits, you never have, you never will, you do not want these to be paused on November.
Mr. Trump, I'm your supporter, but I gotta ask you this question. What the fuck are you doing giving $40 billion to your buddy in Argentina? And you haven't even given the Americans any money yet.
That's a good question, sir, and I understand your frustration. He went on to say, I got stimulus checks from Obama and Biden and Clinton. I didn't get anything from you. What's going on? And remember, sir, we're in a government shutdown right now. TSA workers, air traffic controllers not getting paid, lines getting longer at the airports. They're even trying to weasel out of paying them back pay when this all gets figured out. But don't worry, he is taking steps to make things better. He started something today that I'm sure is going to improve your life drastically. Yeah, he started demolishing part of the White House. They're doing demolition on the White House to make room for his grand ballroom that he wants to build to the tune of, wait for it, $250 million.
Yeah, well, we can look at it. We can look at it and see that it's primarily supposed to be funded by private donors. That's something I just read. It's supposed to be funded by private donors, although the private donors don't have to reveal who they are. So it causes into concerns what, when, and how. So for now, it says private donors.
Government shutdown is still currently happening, but they're tearing apart the White House, which goes against what he claimed he would do back in July when he said, I won't interfere with the current building. It'll be near it, but not touching it, and pays total respect to the existing building, which I am the biggest fan of. Destroying portions of a historic landmark to build some god-awful Mar-a-Lago-esque ballroom for $250 million paid by the American taxpayer. But you don't have a stimulus check, and people who work for the federal government aren't getting paid, and Argentina's getting $40 billion.
Hey. It's okay with some people. It's absolutely okay with some people. Okay. It's okay for them to be doing all of those things, but yet the American people get the shaft on everything else. The American people get the shaft on everything else.
Is this what you voted for?
Yeah, that's what they voted for. They voted to be poor. The Republicans voted to continue to be poor. Instead of helping the American people, they continue to be voting poor. Why I can't get likes in here? Hit the like button, the share button, hit the like button, the screw button, hit the like button coming in. You came to the door, hit the like button, hate button, do whatever. What do you have a problem with it? Are you a government worker? What?
Any of you voted for? Are we great again yet?
Virginia has declared a state
That ain't even a thing, Zagmire. You're weird.
of emergency so that they can fund EBT payments in case the shutdown continues November 1st. I work in social services, so I have been following this really, really closely. And
I played this again because she works closely with the handicapped, and so she would know what's going on. She would know compared to the rest of the people that are talking on here. Okay? Here. Hold on. Because she's one of those vulnerable people.
To bail out Argentina with $20 billion. There is enough money to purchase a brand new aircraft for $173 million for the Homeland Security Secretary. There is enough money to renovate the White House ballroom. What there's not enough money for under this Republican government is you. There's not enough money for you. And it is astonishing to me that the party in charge of the government literally won't show up to work during the second longest shutdown in American history.
You just hold on. I'm finna show you why they really got the government closed down. Let's listen. Y'all hit the like button and the share button and the subscribe button, please and thank you. I told you, hit the like button, hate button, do whatever, but hit the button, share button.
House Republicans have been gone for more than a month. More than a month. They've worked 2 weeks out of the last 3 months. Nice work if you can get it. You were all here. We were here. 2 weeks out of the last 3 months, they've even been in the United States Capitol. And so there is only one way out of this shutdown, and it starts with the House of Representatives reporting for duty.
My friend who's retired, I believe she's 67 now, just got her Medicare Advantage premium details for next year. And her out-of-pocket maximum expense went from $4,200 a year to over $10,000. So if she has some kind of emergency where she requires hospitalization or emergency room care on a retiree's income, she gets to pay up to $10,200. This is Republican policy. She lives in the state of Indiana. And this is what all the cuts to everything are doing, all the budget cuts to every state. And these are the decisions each state is making individually on what's going to be cut, who's going to have to pay more. And people think that there's going to be an end to this shutdown. You've got Caroline Leavitt lying, Donald Trump lying about all these people not getting paid, all of these layoffs. They don't give a rat's ass about layoffs. If they did, they would have cared about the 280,000 federal workers who lost their job because the guy who runs X and his little 19-year-olds wanted to give so much more money to the billionaire class in tax cuts that they just stuck it to all of us. They didn't care about those 280,000 employees, former employees. And now we're coming up to nearly 1 million Americans laid off because of the tariffs, because of all the funding cuts, because of all the deportations. Almost 1 million employees. They don't care about them. They don't care about them. And to think that Republicans actually believe this administration cares about the government workers being furloughed right now over this shutdown thing. Macro view. Project 2025 wants the Affordable Care Act completely dismantled. They're gutting it. This is on their way to doing that. Once it's gutted, there'll be no more government subsidies for any of us, meaning our tax dollars being pooled collectively and then dispersed to bring down our healthcare costs. No, instead, they're going to privatize everything. So their cronies are going to make a shit ton of money, starting companies that can fill the need or just giving contracts to the companies that already exist, all those MAGA donors. And nothing will be for us. Everything will be out of pocket. We are fucked. So this shutdown is not going to end because Republicans care about people being laid off or because they care about how much we're going to be paying for health care. So there you go. In the meanwhile, look for all your premium hikes next year. And now foreclosures, it was just announced, foreclosures are at an all-time high because people can't afford to live in their homes. It's all coming together swimmingly.
Despite the government shutdown, U.S. taxpayers' funding to Israel will continue unimpeded. Wow. Paychecks for our own government employees will be delayed. SNAP welfare food program benefits will also be delayed. Government projects will not be going through, and even paychecks to our own U.S. military, our own soldiers, that will be delayed too. But payments and benefit to blue states, country, and military, that's going to continue on even though they're supposed to be in a ceasefire. The great noticing continues, and this just keeps on getting ridiculous.
Government shutdown is a lot more sinister than most people understand. You see, if you're a Republican or MAGA, you're probably blaming the Democrats in Congress. And if you're a Democrat, you're probably blaming the Republicans in Congress. But it goes much deeper than that. Have you noticed that Mike Johnson won't call Congress back into session? And you might think it has something to do with the e-files, and is, and it's actually not that at all. Because if you look at many Republican congressional leaders, they're asking Mike Johnson to bring Congress back into session. And it's because they don't even know really what the strategy here is and what the plan is. And this is where I'm going to tell you or explain to you what's really happening. If you're familiar with the name Russell Voigt, he is the director of the OMB, the Office Management of Budget, and he's also a co-architect of Project 2025. And he is the one that has the strategy here. Now, if you don't believe me, you just have to go back to the video about Russell Voigt being the Grim Reaper a couple months ago and JD Vance and Trump being in that AI video, which I'll show you at the end of this video. But what's really happening is what they're trying to do is to cripple the US government and Congress in particular. Because if you understand the US Constitution, you know that Congress has the power of the purse and the budget, meaning they're supposed to control all spending. But if they can't come together and open up the government, what Russell Voigt, Donald Trump, JD Vance are trying to do is to convince all Americans that Congress should no longer be in power and be able to control the purse. You see, this is a consolidation of power attempt. They are trying to have the government shut down for so long to get most people to blame all of Congress for not being able to fulfill their duty. So you might think, what's going to happen next? Well, maybe he declares a national emergency and says that Congress can no longer function and control spending. Like Russell Voigt and Project 2025 has said, is they want to consolidate power behind the executive. They believe a president or an authoritarian should have full control, and they are basically trying to eliminate the natural checks and balances that the founding fathers put into place in the Constitution. In short, they want to break government. They want to cripple government, and that's their plan. If the shutdown is prolonged, they will do something to say that Congress can no longer manage the budget and spending. And they want to allow one person, the president, in this case, President Trump, to have all control over money, which takes the representation away from all of us. Just imagine, and you can leave it in the comments here, what could happen when one person has control of all spending. They will have the ability to designate who gets money and who does not get money. One person. And these people, like Russell Voigt and Stephen Miller and others, many of them are Christian nationalists, religious fascists. And then, like I said in my previous video, you also have a group of corporate dictators or technocrats. They all believe that the executive should have as much power as possible, sort of like a CEO, which is nothing more than code for a dictatorship. Understand that what's happening is a complete power play to take over our democracy and turn it into authoritarianship. This is not my feelings or my belief. This is not conjecture. This is fact. And this is all written. Like I always say, people tell you and show you who they are. You just have to watch and listen. And all you need to do is read Project 2025 and you'll understand what's happening here.
Yeah, here's the thing. How many people have read Project 2025? How many of y'all have read Project 2025? How many? Or did you just listen to what people are saying? How many have read Project? I bet you it ain't the whole. I bet you it ain't even maybe 5 of y'all that ain't read Project 2025. And what he's saying is everything that has happened has went through Project 2025. I read 2025. I read it. So I can tell that at least 2/3 of that whole thing is almost completed. 2/3 of that whole Project 2025 is completed. The first step was to get rid of all the people in the government. The second step was try to consolidate all the power. The third step was to make the world great again, white again, get rid of all the immigrants again. The fourth step was to repeal some laws. Yes, Lady Freedom rocks. It's a horrible thing. And people just, they just, you can't get the maggots to even read. So they ain't going to read. They can't read, don't want to read, don't know how to read. I don't know what it is. But if you don't know how to read, can't read, don't want to read, then you haven't read it. Most of us who read it, we understand what it's saying. Okay? And we've been blowing the horn for it ever since. But we just couldn't get the goofies, the ones who fell down the rabbit hole. We just couldn't get y'all out of there. Half of y'all zombies.
And millions of Americans need to see this video and understand really what's happening. So that's it for today's video.
Pat Yeager, it's being implemented right now. Didn't you see all those firings in the government? That's the first step. That's the first step, is firing all the people in the government so that centralized power can happen. Wow.
Video.
Wow.
Again, please follow, subscribe, comment, reshare these videos as far and wide as possible.
before I get in trouble with that. Yeah. Project 2025 is already being implemented. That's all you got to do is go look at go get the beginning. That's all you got to do is look at the foreword, read the foreword, and then it'll tell you exactly what it's going to do. But it's okay. We got bright spot. We got bright spots. We got bright spots on the horizon.
So we have some new numbers coming in about party affiliation. And let's just say that this is like an absolute nightmare. This is a horror show for MAGA. Because the same thing you're feeling, the same thing I'm feeling, the same thing we talk about every day, this is reverberating throughout the country. And people are fucking fed up. And these numbers show that. So watch this.
New polling just out was really eye-popping to me.
It was shocking to me, John, and it comes down to party identification. Do you identify as a Democrat or as a Republican? And traditionally speaking, this is a metric that has been quite telling of elections, and we'll get into that a little bit. Party ID margin, Dem versus Republicans. Specifically, I'm talking about Gallup. Back in quarter one of 2025, it was a tie. Look at how much Democrats have gained on this metric, according to Gallup. Their latest metric, Democrats are ahead by 7 points. That is a 7-point movement to the left.
Bro, that's insane. Do you understand? We're talking about a really short time frame here, a really short time frame. And it went from party affiliation being tied 50-50 to now Democrat plus 7. You do understand what that means, right? It means people are following what's happening. People are looking at what Trump is doing. People are sick of the madness that we're witnessing. That's what that means. That's what that means. To go from dead tied to plus 7 Democrat is sort of like apocalyptic for Republicans. It's so bad that in order for them to win in the next election, they would have to actually, like old school, steal the shit. Not just the little, the tricks around the edges type shit. Not just the little nip and tuck, like finger on the scale, thumb on the scale. No, it would you'd have to actually like old school rig it. Like with numbers like this, it could be a too big to rig type election. So the gerrymandering alone might not be enough. Might not be enough. If this holds, and that's the sort of trouble that they're in right now.
Well, to see if there was similar movement among Quinnipiac, it was +1 Republican. And you can see again, movement to the left, Democrats +3. Last year, going into the 2024 presidential election, that was the rare time in which Republicans actually held a lead in Gallup's party ID measure. That Republican lead is no more. Adios, amigos.
Now, remember, when that happened, there was 1,000 stories I saw. I'm sure you saw them too. That for the first time ever in the history of polling, that Democrats lost their advantage and Republicans held an advantage for party ID. So in other words, more people were describing themselves as Republicans than Democrats. That never happens. Because remember, Republicans typically have a built-in advantage with the Electoral College, right? And so they don't even need to have as many voters to win. I mean, Hillary Clinton won by 3 million votes. The popular vote and ended up losing. Al Gore won the popular vote, ended up losing the Electoral College. And so they can win with less, basically. But that was the first time ever in polling that it was like, no, you actually have more voters on the Republican side. Now that's totally changed, and nobody can talk about it. We're talking about it here. CNN's doing this segment, but you're not going to see. There were like 40 fucking articles I saw when it was Republicans now hold an advantage for party ID. And now there's not going to be the same number of articles saying, oh, now that's all gone, and then some. They're not going to do that. Total bias to cover that and not cover this.
Now Democrats ahead by 7 points, at least according to Gallup.
And this is when pollsters call and ask you for your party. Basically, this is self-reporting of what party you're in, and now you're seeing the 7-point swing in what people are saying in this. And historically, what does that mean?
Yeah, okay. What does it matter when Democrats have a lead on party ID at this particular point in midterm cycles? Well, I want you to take a look back at some past midterm cycles. Okay, right now we got the Democrats ahead by 7. You go back 4 years ago, the Democrats were only ahead by 1 point. This doesn't look anything like what we had at this point going into the 2022 midterm cycle. It looks much more like what we had going into the 2018 midterm cycle, in which Democrats were ahead by 4 points. They're actually doing better at this point than they...
Bro. The 2018 cycle was a massive W for Democrats. They had a huge win. In that cycle, they were +4. Right now, they're +7. Right now, they're +7. And again, I want to reiterate this. This is with Democrats saying nothing and doing nothing. This is with Democrats hiding under their desk and letting people like me and fucking Midas Touch and others we rail against Trump. We cover everything happening every day and fight on it. They're nowhere to be found. And they're +7. Just imagine if they actually started sounding like me. They'd be fucking +14, dog. They'd be +14. This is so crazy. So they're doing better than 2018 right now.
We're doing during the 2018 cycle. If you average in the Quinnipiac, it's about the same. But at this particular point, what you're seeing is Democrats doing considerably better than they did back in the 2022 midterm cycle. And more than that, Democrats have been gaining throughout this year compared to what we saw back in the 2021 year, in which we saw Republicans gaining during the year. And what we've ended up with in quarter three is Democrats ahead by 7, much better than the position that they had going into 2022 when they were only ahead by 1 point in quarter three of 2021.
So 4 points was a good year for Democrats in 2018. 1 point was a bad year for Democrats in 2022. The number 7, where does that rank? What does that tell us?
Yeah,
about how
what is that? Exactly right. All right, so we have 2022 midterm, we have 2018 midterm. Now let's go all the way back. We'll jump in the DeLorean and essentially look at party ID advantages in midterms. When the GOP gains House seats, look at this. Democrats are ahead by only a point. When the Dems gain House seats, look at this. Democrats are ahead by 8 points. Democrats are up by 7 right now. If this 7-point lead holds in the next year and averages out next year in 2026, Democrats plus 7, there is no historical precedent for Republicans actually gaining House seats. The Democrats gain in every year. That looks like what Gallup shows right now.
Yeah, again, and this number right here for Democrats may be one of the better numbers they've seen in some time.
And again, that's with them not saying shit, not doing shit, hiding in the background, sitting in the cuck chair. They're not doing shit, bro. They're not doing shit. Plus 7. Imagine if they fought. Imagine if they were all in fighting the illegal bombings of Venezuelan fishermen. Imagine they were all in screaming about the Epstein files on a daily basis, screaming about Trump's corruption and him robbing his own supporters, scamming his own supporters with a shit coin. Imagine they talked about that. Imagine they talked about the fucking dumbass trade war, which is skyrocketing prices, inflation through the fucking roof, unemployment's going up.
Right.
Imagine. Imagine they talked about the fucking self-dealing, the endless self-dealing, the fucking ICE Gestapo thugs in the concentration camp.
Right.
Camps, plural. Imagine. Again, it would be plus 14. So this is just Republicans collapsing under the weight of their own bullshit. Which, I mean, guys, this tells me people are following stuff enough to know that they hate what they see. I think a lot of it is, honestly, inflation. I think a lot of it is people go to the grocery store and they're like, what the fuck? I thought Trump was going to bring down prices. What the fuck? That's a big deal. I do think maybe the Epstein files also contributed to that it's very clear Trump's hiding the Epstein files because he's in the Epstein files and people aren't stupid. So I think that's a big part of it too. And I think people are going to get slapped in the face even harder as soon as a lot of these provisions in the big bullshit bill, as soon as they hit, oh my God, Republicans are cooked. We're talking about adding $4 trillion to the debt and the deficit. We're talking about cutting taxes for the wealthy and raising taxes on the working class. We're talking about cutting Medicaid $800 billion, which kicks 17 million people off healthcare, raises out-of-pocket costs, reduces coverage for poor people and disabled people. That, like, nightmare scenario. As soon as that happens, like, and they put like a honeymoon period in there, a waiting period where it's like, okay, we're going to pass this, but it really kicks in like a few years down the road. Wait until those cuts actually hit. 3 million people kicked off food stamps, no more free school lunch and free school breakfast for kids, taking away the Obamacare subsidies, cutting Medicare, killing the wind projects and the solar projects, hundreds of thousands of jobs that Trump just blew up like nothing. This is crazy. This is fucking crazy. All the while, self-dealing, billions for the Golden Dome, which is just a slush fund for the military-industrial complex and Raytheon and Lockheed Martin. This is crazy what we're looking at. And so it's catching up. It's all catching up. But again, what I would say to Democrats is I really hate the mindset of like, let's say nothing, let's do nothing, let's let them fall apart. Yes, they're going to fall apart, but they'd fall apart faster and you'd be way more popular if you aided and abetted in that, right? If you actually went to town and grabbed some fucking brass knuckles, metaphorically, and started swinging. So, do that. Hey, y'all, do me a favor.
Do that. So, hopefully, the liberals is trash. The liberals, no, these are just clips. Just because it has a good lean don't mean nothing. I can show Republican lean, and the Republican lean, Fox News and all that. I just took the best one that said that they're vulnerable at the polls. I just took the best one. I could have showed you Fox News polls that said the same thing. I could have showed you that. I just happen to like Kyle. That's all, because he usually comes out with accurate shit. But I can't help it. People are waking up around here. People are waking up around here. You could go anywhere on the TikTok, on the Instagram, and find people saying they coming out of MAGA. You not like you talking about people saying, Democrats are coming over to MAGA. Democrats ain't going over to MAGA. Ain't nobody going over to the Republican side. Ain't nobody going over there trying to deal with that president. Ain't nobody going over there to deal with that president. Nobody. I don't care what you say. Nobody is doing that. Okay? That's the whole point. My point is, I gave y'all a 10-point plan. Wait a minute, hold on. I gave y'all a 10-point plan the other day. I gave you a 10-point plan. Did I or did I not give y'all a 10-point plan? Did I or did I not? Okay? I gave you a 10-point plan. I gave y'all a list of the priorities for the Democrats. I gave you one. Okay? I didn't see one damn person come up with what did the Republicans do for the MAGAs. Now, one MAGA person came up and said anything about what this big beautiful bill has done for them. I haven't seen it. Ain't nobody presented it. Nobody said anything. Y'all hit the like button and the hate button and the subscribe button and all that good stuff. Ocean has me feeling summer vibes while it's 37 degrees right now where I live. Ooh, Jesus. I mean, they just, the facts are the facts. I mean, the facts are the facts. 7 million people did not show up at that No Kings rally because they liked what was going on with Donald Trump. 7 million people did not show up because they liked what was going on with Trump. Okay? Ain't no 3 million people went over no Republican side. You know you lying. You know you lying. And you know why? We know why. We already know why they voted. We understand why people voted the way they did. I understand. People didn't like the trans stuff. People didn't like the gay stuff. People didn't like the black woman. People didn't like the woman. Them 4 things got her thrown to the side. Them 4 things. You don't like the gays. You don't like the trans. You don't like a woman to be in charge, and you don't like a black woman. Them is the 4 things, 4 reasons that I always hear y'all say is why you didn't vote for her. So now you got what you wanted. You got what you wanted. You want him to put other countries first. You want him to put people in danger. You want him to be blowing boats up in the middle of the ocean without due process. You want him to be deporting people without due process. You want all of these things. So you got what you wanted. But the people in the middle just didn't like it. Here's the thing. When we go to vote, we have Republicans and Democrats on one side or the other. Then we have the group that actually decides the election in the middle, called the Independents. And the Independents voted for Donald Trump at 40-some%. They have moved away from Donald Trump to the tune down to 17%. Okay? They have moved from 40-some% down to 17%. The Independents, who are the ones who decide elections. So since the Independents have swung back away from Donald Trump, that means your Trumpster is in trouble. Your Trumpster is in trouble. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. Okay? It just is what it is. Independent people are horrified with what they're seeing. The independent people are horrified at what they saw. Okay? It's the independent people that will be making those decisions as to whether your president stays. And most of them are horrified at what they see. Okay? It just is a fact. It just is a fact. Okay. And so I did put in the check PRWORA 104 to 193. That's the law that says that immigrants can't get food stamps. Okay. I know they talking real reckless. This is we down the goofy hole. It's a bunch of zombies. But that's okay. Zombies are cool. I just need you to put in the chat. What this big beautiful bill this summer did for the people who made $30,000 to $150,000. I need you to put in the chat what it did for you. That's all I need to know is what it did for you. And I need to also know why did after the day after Charlie Kirk got murked, why did y'all go and threaten the HBCUs? I need to know these two things. Put them in the chat. Please hit the like, the hate, the share button, subscribe button. We have this content every weeknight at 10 o'clock. Okay? So that we be informed. We're going to be informed. Okay? We're going to be informed. We're not going to do the zombie talk. We're not going to do all this Obama or Biden. We're talking about you all's president who decided that he was going to give money to Israel, Argentina, and Egypt instead of helping his own country. This is what we're talking about. Your president who said he was going to put America first. And as far as I can see, America ain't going first. As far as I can see. I don't know, but as far as I can see, he's not putting America first when he's not even helping with his own people here in the country. And I don't know about you, but that doesn't sit right with me. No. The Republicans can open the government if they want to. They can do a vote of cloture, or they can change the reconciliation bill to a different type of reconciliation bill. They can change it to a different bill, and then they will be able to get the funding for the government. They're able to open the government. They just don't want to. They don't want to give us the medical insurance. They don't want to give us the food stamp. They don't want to do any of those things. This is the Republican shutdown because they can open up the government if they want to. I appreciate it, KRC, Natural KRC, $5 just supporting. Keep the hot topics coming. Yes, we got to keep our foot on the gas until next November. Because if anybody has an issue with what's going on, we have to be diligent. We have to stay informed. We aren't doing any kind of goofy stuff. We getting the facts out there. We're getting the facts. Okay? We want to get the facts. Okay? I appreciate your $5. I appreciate it. I do. You all please hit the like, hate, share, all of those good things. Okay? I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Okay? I just don't like what's going on in the government. Let me be clear, because a lot of people say, oh, you just don't like Donald Trump. You just don't like Donald Trump. Let me be clear on Donald Trump. Okay? Let's be clear on Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a horrible human being. A horrible human being. But that has nothing to do with him running the country. If he was running the country and he really put the vulnerable people first, the poor, the indigent, the handicapped, the elderly, the disabled, if he really put those things first, then I would be behind him 100%. But he's a horrible human. He has horrible personal flaws as a human being. He's a horrible human being. Nobody can dispute that. You're a horrible human being. But if you put the vulnerable of our population first, if you put America first, if you did that, and I saw that you were doing that, and you weren't trying to get yourself advantages for yourself, you weren't trying to get your children rich, you weren't trying to get you want to grab as much money as you can out the door. You weren't giving money away to foreign countries instead of helping your most vulnerable here. The president, he would have my undying respect. Even now, if he went into that damn Oval Office, took them Republicans by the hand and told them, we gonna do immigration reform, we gonna reform the food stamps and the Medicaid, and we gonna try to make sure that the kids got lunch every day. Kids get free lunch. If he went into the office and he said them three things, we got the border closed, let's get immigration reform, let's try to save Social Security or Medicaid, and let's make sure we have kids get food every day, you would have my undying respect. But that's not what he's going to do. That's not what he's going to do. He's going to think of himself first. He's a horrible human being. And you all, as Republicans, backed a horrible human being. You backed a man who is a suspected pedophile. Okay? That's who you backed. That's who you backed. A convicted felon. This is who you backed. And I could have got behind that if you were helping America first. He's not helping America first. Immigration reform. Helping make sure that our Social Security is stabilized for our older folks, and making sure children got food every time they went to work. But he's not going to do that. So he's going to continue to be the horror, and he's a human being. See, that's what y'all don't get. Y'all can't seem to think because the person makes money that they're a good person. Oh, you're such a good person. You make so much money. No, he's a human being who has a horrible, horrible personal morality. Horrible human being with moral values that are nowhere else. And he has no intention of helping the poor or the indigent or the elderly or the handicapped or our veterans. He has no intention, because no one who gets rid of all of the agencies that help people function in this country would do what he did with the government. His personal care, he has a horrible personal character. He is a horrible human being, and he is a very flawed human being whose moral failings supersede any good he could have, would have, should have did. All of those, his failings. For one, Daytona, he closed a special needs organization that oversaw special needs, that helped get special needs teachers into schools, that helped special needs kids get help from home. He closed that department the minute he said the government shut down. He said, "Oh, let me close the democratic agencies that they like." And the first one he closed was the special needs agency. That's a horrible human being. Donald Trump is a horrible human being. It just is what it is. Yeah, it's a lot of people's opinion. It is what it is. So I ain't the only one. He just is what it is. You all hit the like, share, and subscribe button, please, and thank you. We have this content every night. We bring out facts. We talk about things. Nobody wanted to call. So that's okay. Nobody likes to call. Nobody wants to call. Nobody can call to defend Donald Trump. There's nothing to defend. He's sending the money to Egypt, Israel, Argentina, instead of helping the most vulnerable that are here. But it's okay. I'm cool with that. Yeah, I don't complain about Donald Trump. But see, here's the thing, Jay Roberts. He's a shitty president. So if you think that I'm not supposed to have criticism about my president because he's my president, then you're a moron. Okay? That's the whole point. The whole point is you're supposed to push your president to do the right thing. But you all don't want him to do the right thing. You just want him to do whatever he wants to do. No, there's nothing in that, Sharon, Andrew. There's nothing in there that makes him a great president. There's nothing. That's delusion. MAGAs, I get it. You're delusional. You're down a rabbit hole. Most of y'all zombies, but that's cool. Y'all hit the like button, share button. We're here every night, 10 o'clock. We'll have another subject tomorrow night. Hit the like and the share button. We'll have another subject tomorrow night. I appreciate you all showing up. I appreciate it. I do.